Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Photography Salon. My name is Richard Kalman, and tonight we're going to be talking with Giacomo Brunelli about his life and career to date, and about his rather unique signature style, and also his successes within the publishing world with the very recent release of his book, New York, which has just been released from Skinner Books. And we will talk about that in more detail a bit later on. But firstly, Giacomo, welcome. Thanks very much for being tonight's guest.
Welcome to you. Well, thanks, Richard. Thank
Good.
you.
I was just going to start, actually. It almost feels like I can't remember a time before it now, but how have you been managing with lockdown? How are you managing with homeschooling your kids? I can see you've got a couple of pictures from them on the wall. And are you managing to sort of stay creative at all during
Oh
this?
yeah, it's been great to be able to spend so much time with them. So it's been a blessing if you want
Yeah.
to look at the bright side of it. I was in the middle of something, so I was working on my new series of mine. So in Italy, so I had to stop it. So, but apart from that, yeah, it's been great. Yeah, it's been great.
Good,
I had
good.
time to, fully focused on the family thing.
Yeah. And have you been bearing the brunt of the homeschooling, or have you been passing that to your wife or sharing it?
Well, I do 1 hour in the morning. I do math with Federico. He's
Okay.
year 4 now. While Beatrice, year 7, secondary school now, she's more independent, so she wants to do things by herself. But yeah, so I do like 9 to 10 with
Yeah.
him. So we do maths. So usually he's got like 4 or 5 topics from the school.
That's
So
brave
yeah,
of you. I find it difficult already to help them with their maths and,
I know. Year 4 still a challenge. But
yeah.
yeah, I
I'm
started.
like, ask your mother.
But yes,
Good.
it's good. I did the as in Italy you can choose between like a when you are let's see, after secondary school at 15, well, between like sixth form, you can choose between the scientific studies and the classical ones.
Okay.
Classical ones you can do like Greek and Latin, while the like the scientific ones you do like Latin and maths.
Right.
So I look for the Latin and maths. So it's a idea. I have yeah. So
At least then you can help with one, because
exactly.
most of our kids aren't studying Latin.
You got 3, so
Yeah.
it's a different thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, listen, I'm going to start with the questions. I also want to say, if anybody wants to email in any questions to us for me to pose to Giacomo, then please do, and we can hopefully get round to them. But I'm going to sort of start with a question that I know that for all the photographs that you take, you work with a camera that your father gave you. And I wanted to kind of find out if he was a very significant kind of influence on you becoming a photographer or your interest in photography.
Well, he was like an amateur photographer, I guess like he would probably do some darkroom printing as well. Back in, I mean, he was like 20 when me and my twin brother were born. So he had to, but yeah, he was quite interested in photography back then. But we sort of, but he. I had just found, his camera, which was a Miranda, like a low middle range, if you want. Like it was like a basic one, if you want,
Yeah,
like from Japan, 1970s, 60s, 70s, beautifully made, super, very, very. I was I think over the I got also I've tried different cameras. I'm from a Canon color, Canon snappy for like travels to a Leica M3 that I still got, but always find the Mirandas because I got many now
Yeah.
because they break, so they break down, so it's good to have like parts to replace when they break. So um, I've always found the Mirandas and affordable cameras, if you want, very suitable to to the style of photo. So you jump on a train, you put it like that, you don't care,
Yeah.
you put it in the bag. So it's very easy for me to fully focus on the photography
Yeah.
rather than looking for rather than
Not
going
lots of equipment that you need to take around, and
exactly. And I
light
only
beams and
use
everything else.
a one lens, so
Yeah.
even so it's I don't have much weight to carry. Yeah,
I was going
but
to ask you.
my father has been a not influence, but my family supported me over the years. So it's
Yeah.
been great. It's been a great big supporters of mine. So
Yeah.
in that respect, yes. So always encouraged me in
Yeah. It's
following
important.
my passions. Yeah.
So I was going to ask on that actually. So because you went to university and you studied communication, and then you did later on a sort of 6 month course in photojournalism. Was that a sort of change of direction? Was that a very kind of important period for you to study, to then be able to go on and have the confidence to go and start a career in photography?
Yes, after university, I did 5 years of economics. Then I moved to for last year to the communication, international communication. So I
Right.
graduated on that sort of studies. But the after the degree, I decided to I don't know, but I was this. I would. I wanted to be able to use that camera that it was in front of me all the time, and it was so fascinating as object. So,
Yeah.
so the the magic of photography is, I mean, it is magic. So, is magic. The machines are magic, if you want. The darkroom is magic. So it deals a lot with these part that we sort of we can be surprised, if you want. So it's in that respect is a medium that I really like.
And is that did you get sort of technical help and sort of skills and knowledge from that course, or has
Oh
is
yes, a lot. Oh yeah, it was great. It was a course in Rome. My wife is from Rome, so we were sort of living there between, say, my hometown Perugia, which is Umbria,
yeah,
and Rome, which is like a less than 1.5 hour drive. So it was very convenient for us. So it was good. It was good to. It was good to. So it was like a once a week for 6 months, where they photojournalism the course. So they would show us books, how to build projects, how to work in with magazines, Magnum agencies, that sort of. Because probably at the time that was photography to me was that's all I knew about photography. So I
yeah.
not having a photography background at all. So for me was like photography was like like war photography, if you want, like traveling, that so it was then probably the over the years I've my views are they changed along the way, if you want.
And I mean, did the sort of photojournalism traditional kind of war reporter or covering whatever the current affairs might be, did that ever sort of enter your head that that would be something that you wanted to do, or was it just a sort of a helpful way to start, but you always had your own ideas about, I mean, lead me
It
to
was.
a question
I,
about how you develop your style of
I,
work.
I, think, I think that was my probably was my work that over time sort of took the. So I never said, okay, I want to do that. Probably it was like a natural progression of my
Okay.
work. So I was producing the work, the projects that I liked. And over the years, I just found that probably attracted people interested in what I was doing. So
Okay.
I didn't sort of said, okay, I want to work with that. I would like probably to I don't know, to work for a don't know, but I never. Yeah, it's always been something that I've attracted,
Yeah.
or my work has, at least. Uh, so yeah, he never said I would like to, but yeah, these component of photography that you have to travel, you explore.
Yeah.
Uh, you have to be like anthropology if you want, and all the science involving are very fascinating to me. I find it very interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting to that with a machine you can do so much. The uh, Probably never been interested in like war. I've always been like I never liked war, so I always been very like more peace and love type of person. So, but yeah. Um,
And when did you decide to move to London? Was that a decision made for your
oh
sort
yeah, the
of
we just had the first baby, first child,
yeah.
Beatrice. She's now 12, and so she was 6 months when we moved to 10 months. Sorry, when we moved to London. So we decided we wanted to like be in the UK for a while because we had I just published a book in with Darwin Lewis back in 2008, and I wanted to sort of follow the progression of the book. So I had 3 or 4 exhibitions planned in the UK. So one in the Newark Gallery Walsall near Birmingham, one in another centre, one in a street level Glasgow, Scotland, one in Wales. 3, 4 exhibitions already planned. So the animals exhibition like toured from Birmingham, from the Newark Gallery Walsall to 4 or 5 different locations of all across the UK. And so I said to my wife Lara if she wanted to come to go to
Yeah.
London with me, basically.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, has been like
And you've never left.
yeah, exactly, yeah, 12 nearly, yeah.
I didn't realize I didn't realize, I thought you'd come to London a bit earlier. I didn't realize the book had already been published. I was going to talk obviously about the first book, The Animals, which I know was mostly photographed in the sort of countryside around Perugia, where you come from. And I was going to ask about why that subject. Were you always interested in animals? Was it something from?
Yes. I sort of grew up in a Umbria is sort of very green, so the animals encounters are not that exotic, if you want. So you could. I used to be, of course, I would drive a car where to explore my region, Umbria, as I said. So and it came out. Well, I just realised that there were lots of animals, and I grew up with I love animals, so my
Yeah.
love with animals has been yeah, it was great. I love it. I love being surrounded. Well, I had lots of animals. I used to collect pigeons, so I had lots of
Ah,
big pigeons, like it. But I think they're like big pigeons. Like they weigh probably half a kilo or so. Not like the regular
that's a
one.
big pigeon.
Yeah, big pigeons. Yeah,
I was
and
going to say, maybe you could show some of the
of course. Oh yes.
on
Oh
that
yeah.
series
Of
for people
course.
who are maybe not so familiar with the work. So
Of course.
Giacomo's kind of first major series, The Animals. Um,
Exactly. Yeah.
this is the first time that I came across your work.
Because Richard, you were, if not the first, probably the second, or probably the first. I'm not sure, person to show my work in the UK. So actually, before moving, because you had the show back in 2006, I think.
I,
You had
I,
the book
I
show.
think so. I think
Yeah,
just was the first person. So I'm
yeah.
pleased and proud with that.
Yeah. I had the first solo show was another gallery in the UK, but you gave me for sure the first solo group show. Yeah. So yeah, this is the series. Um,
I was going to say that there is something about the very sort of, well, maybe I should start by saying that you sent me a submission, which I always remember.
you mean a digital submission? Yeah.
No, you sent me a physical submission.
Oh, physical submission. Okay.
You sent me a small box of like
Wow.
maybe 3 or 4 of your 8 by 10 prints,
Oh, wow.
beautifully colored tissue paper with a handwritten note introducing yourself and explaining the project and introducing your work. And I have to say, I now use it. I do quite a few talks at universities to students who are graduating, and I talk about it as one of the best submissions that I've ever received, and how to make such a kind of great impression on a gallery when you are so many email and kind of virtual submissions.
Oh,
To have something so beautiful and so delicate, and also which very much matched into the style of the prints, which again is something that I wanted to talk about because the prints are incredibly sort of tactile. They are on a paper which is kind of much thicker than normal photographic paper. They have these lovely round edges which you kind of can't necessarily fully sort of appreciate from the imagery. And I was going to ask, I mean, both from the point of view of the physical prints, whether it was always your intention to make them that sort of unique and distinct, and similarly with the approach to the gallery, whether again the idea of doing something very kind of consciously away from anything digital, sending this beautiful kind of handcrafted box of very handmade feeling kind of prints, was always sort of part of the attention to kind of try and do something that was very different from, I guess, the where the medium generally was going at that time. Sorry, that's a very long question.
no, of course. But back in 2000, when I, really, started shooting and printing, 2000, 2001, I mean, digital was not that, not, not,
No.
not common, if you want. So I had, especially if you were doing black and white. So I don't know why I said, okay, let's start black and white, because I started with I had a Triax and a T-Max, film-wise. And so I picked a Triax 400 one day, and never changed it since then. So, it's my approach has been always very strict in terms of, so I wanted to be able to have a to have a tool and be able to use it and change, if you want, my view alongside with the equipment. So so I said, darkroom printing was very common at that time, and yeah, probably 5-6 years later, you probably, if you had to work with magazines, they would require you to shoot digital. I don't know, no idea. Never had the I don't have experience of that, but the it was quite common, still quite common, the printing and the analogic word, if you want.
Yeah.
The the portfolio that I intended, I mean, I didn't have any, I just, I was printing in the bathroom, and like I do now. So that prints, they just came out very, that I liked the look of them. As you said, I mean, how they came out from darkroom. So I just didn't change anything. Well, I did change some, but I don't cut the corners anymore for certain series,
Right.
and I like to present them in a different way, because it's good to see little changes over time. So
Sure.
I do make some changes along the way, but not much. I mean, the integrity of my approach has been, it's never been mind. It's never been. I mean, I always do the same printing. I always do the same long-term projects. So I work for long-term, like years, in projects, and same paper, same film, same camera, same
Is the
everything.
paper not quite unusual though? Is it? Because again, to me, it always seemed much kind of, weightier. It felt like a little object rather than quite often, photographic paper can feel quite light.
Probably it's more my vision that fits that support, if you will, support
Right.
in terms, paper, and that presentation. Because I've seen pictures of, say, around that they have a similar approach, but a similar, say, way of presentation, but I don't, mine are better. No, I'm joking. But I think, I've seen like I think probably it's a combination of things. I mean, it's it's the whole thing that works.
Yeah.
And
Well, it does. It does.
and as I said, I didn't have any, photographic background at all, so I hadn't been influenced by anything back then. So,
I've actually got a question sort of on this subject from Greg in Italy. Thank you for your question. Who is asking whether you achieve your signature dark style in the printing process or during shooting.
well, it's a dual sort of combination. I think it's the printing process, of course. In my case, has helped me a lot. Is helping me a lot because I learn a lot. I've been learning every time I go into darkroom is like I learn something new.
Right.
Even silly things that from time to time you speak to a photographer and he said, because these are large, has got these, and I said, really? And I didn't, because it's the darkroom, the printing is magic. So
Yeah.
every day you learn something new, and as I do. So the printing process in that respect has helped me in finding my probably also knowing the light better, because it's always in my case the light that I using only one combination of diaphragm and speed of shutter, basically. So I always look for that special light that I know, like 100%.
Yeah.
But that I know better than other lights, if you want. So I like when my subjects are in that light. So that's when I like to shoot. So probably, and these these I don't know how I get into, but this is the light that I know.
Yeah.
And light that I know, of course, you know, that I know that my work can work. My pictures can work. So it's the only one that I know, and through printing, I've developed over the years. Because the printing is a physical action. So I mean, it gets into your vein if you want. So you know, it must be different from a digital printing somehow.
Yeah.
So
Very.
I
Sorry, go ahead.
no. So yeah, that's it. That's the. I hope I've answered Derek.
Greg.
Derek. Greg.
Greg.
Greg. Yeah.
And there is something about the sort of small scale, intimate, almost kind of magical quality of the images that to me makes them feel like little treasures, which is very much kind of, captured in the way that they are printed and kind of presented. And I just want to ask if that's how it would feel like you were out in search of treasure when you would set out to capture them on one of your, because I know you go out early in the morning to kind of capture your subjects.
Of course, yes.
So was it like a little kind of treasure hunt that you would be out on to try and find?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, it's that magic that I mentioned earlier that I like. I mean, is these going around for years, not finding anything, and then one day you sort of you're so happy about a certain image that you stick to it for your whole life.
Yeah,
So that's this never ending process that is very fascinating to me. So the small small I at the beginning I was printing small because I had a smaller bathroom. So so I had to, but since the Eternal London project I started to make bigger prints. It's very different in terms of you viewer, the perception of of the work, but it's so good when you see uh, my work as a printer in that case, or as an artist. I mean, it's my interpretation of the prints
yeah,
in the larger prints. So that's one thing that so I like them. I like the small ones because I do two sizes. So I like the small ones and I like the big ones. So it's great. It's great to be able, even that versatility is super versatile photography. So you can have two sizes, which is
yeah,
great because you have, still, super limited edition prints because I do 10 and 5. So very, 15, 18 prints in total. So, very, very depending on the project, but, super limited pieces if you want, but still, the film is, this being, the mean being, the main the photography mean being so popular and
yeah,
versatile, and you can have pictures printed on t-shirts, on posters, on billboards, on whatever. So
yeah.
it's very fascinating that
I've just got an interesting question in from Robbie in London, which is going to lead me on to my next question too. He asked, what is your workflow like? Do you shoot every day, and how do you know you have a winner? And I was going to ask about the picture which won the Sony World Photography Award from this series, which maybe you could show us, the one of the
of course
Arling dog.
of course Yeah.
So how do you, was this sort of process, to answer Robbie's question, is it, did you go out sort of daily shooting and?
I used
Yeah.
to every day. I used to every day. Now I'm more focused on projects. So I've said that I've um, um, I with the animals it was very and people, because I did another one I will show you later. My really first project, very first project on like project like series in with something in mind. So before the animals, we're talking 2000 2004. But I always had a so the thing is, lost the third, but yeah, is the I used to shoot a lot every day. I used to shoot animals every day, so I would wake up, say 4, 5, 6, and shooting until say 1, 2 in the afternoon. So I still have. I mean, it was probably so most beautiful memories in my life,
Yeah.
being able to drive around Italy, central Italy, looking for, parking the car, walking, or the woods, but even doing, don't know, 200 miles, well, not 200, but say 50 miles per day. So in like shooting for, looking for animals basically. So I was drawn by animals. Animals were like my thing.
Yeah.
The now is I work more on projects. So I do like a project for a couple of years, where I say the last project that I did on New York, and where I did like 4 trips over 5 months in the city, where spending like between 3, 4 weeks, 5 weeks each trip. So different, completely different approach, but it's good because it's I don't want to. I've always I had this idea of that I've been probably changing over the last couple of years, but I don't want to produce much. These, of course, yeah, I want to produce. I mean, productivity is always helps. Sorry, but the I and but my projects and my photographs are not many around. So probably being for the projects themselves, or of the the editions, but of the, I mean, limited. But I always have this idea of being not producing much. So I like to do like a project a year, probably one every 2, 3 is good.
And
And
so
of
do
course,
you edit, do you kind of edit, do you take a lot and edit a lot, or do again, going back to that question, do you know when you've got a winner? You see this shot, you must have printed this and you must have thought, this is a really, really
in
strong
that
picture.
case, yes. In that case, when I saw in the negative, I still remember it. It was like I knew I might have something, but with film photography, you never know. And I don't develop films. So I sent it at a like 24-hour shop in Umbria
Yeah.
to get developed, and I got it back, and I was looking at it in the light, like in the camera, like, and I said I was expecting something, because I took like 9 shots, 6 shots. So but this dog was really crazy, so I was expecting something. So I was looking at it and said, "Oh wow!" So I couldn't wait to be in the darkroom and print it. And when I
Yeah.
saw it, it was like because it's strange with great images. It's I think great images are very strange because they you sort of you relate them to something else. So like a first impression, they don't impress you much. So, to me, when I saw it in the negative and in the printing later, for me it was like something that I had seen before,
Right.
uh, that I had, but in reality. I mean, photography is not reality. Um, so in that sense, yes, he was a winner.
Yeah.
Uh, but I think it's this constant flow of looking for something that drives you to find the perfect image.
Yeah.
Well, the your best image. Uh, so of course I wanted my winner image to be in a like portfolio prints within the same subjects, within the same project, and within the same approach.
Yeah.
So it's
And
great
this
part.
is the project that got published in your first book by Darry Lewis back in 2008.
Right, exactly.
That must have been quite a moment to basically get your
Yes, of course. Yes,
first
because it.
project published.
Yeah, yeah, because it was a very important part of because I started to grow as a photographer, a photographer artist, attending portfolio reviews around UK at that time. So I didn't mention that, I forgot, but we moved to London because of these portfolio reviews around the world that you can attend. You pay like a small, well, depending on the festival, but in a small fee to show your project to a big audience being experts in the fields of photography. So editor, publishers, galleries, collectors, agencies. So, and at that time, there was Rhubarb in Birmingham.
Oh
And
yeah.
Rhubarb in Birmingham, for the UK, has been the biggest festival ever. Portfolio review. Well, I wouldn't say festival. It was like a portfolio, very portfolio review focused festival. You had some exhibitions on the side, but it was portfolio review. So you had 3 days where you could show your work to big players in photography industry, and the Rhubarb has been for me great. I mean, I had the chance to meet crazy and super important people. They have super important, and for my career. So
Yeah.
they really helped me in getting out. And Darby Lewis was one of them. So we had, I showed Darby my project like 3-4 times over the years, but 2004. 2005, 2006, and 2007 probably. And in 2008, we got the chance to publish the book. So it was great.
And did that then lead quite sort of soon after that was published and received good attention and good notices? Is that how you then came to the attention of the photographers gallery who
Yeah,
represent?
the photographers gallery. I still remember Gemma, who Gemma still works there. And so she said to me, she dropped me an email saying that she wanted to see my portfolio. So so we came to London, like we were in London like 4 months earlier. So it was great to be, to get into that sort of representation status, since the beginning, basically. So I've been with the Photographers Gallery for 11 years now. So, but yes, W has been a well-respected publisher, especially in the UK, and is a he published it. But back then, it was a very small, not very small, but it was a smaller publisher. So he publishes more books per year. But yes, so it was even a bigger, if you want, achievement for me, being six, 7, 8 books per year that he would publish. So, but yeah, we had sort of a. If you want, do you want me to go into details of how I got into the publishing with Darwin Lewis, or?
No, I mean, it's really just to give a kind of overview, I guess, for anybody listening who, is a practicing photographer who is interested to know
Of course, yeah, of
I
course.
think
I mean, yeah, of course.
everybody progresses in a different way and has a different
Yeah.
approach, and sometimes it can be, that you just meet the right person, like you said, at a portfolio review, and things kind of happen from there. And
Yeah, sure, but it's
getting your work in front of people is probably the most important thing, right?
I think being the publishing world very is a little bit crazy now, because you meet with people who they love what they're doing, like I do, and of course they want to take they want the. I'm not saying spread the risk with, but it's because they really love what they do. So it's a very fascinating world. And with Dawi, which is a lovely person, and Caroline, but we sort of had an agreement, got an agreement where I would buy some copies in advance to sort of fund the project. And I was very lucky because the New York Gallery Walsall in Birmingham, a big museum in Birmingham, put some money together with the Arts Council as well. So we had like 4 forces together.
Yeah, I think there is a misapprehension for a lot of people that, if you get a book deal, that your book, everything is kind of paid for and it's all done. That happens very, very rarely with only some of the major publishing houses. Normally there are contributions, there are different ways of doing it, and it's a collaborative kind of process because of the realities of the kind of economies. It's just impossible to afford it yourself or by one small publisher. Listen, I'm just a bit aware of time, that we don't have a massive amount of time, and I wanted to kind of start talking a little bit more about some of the later work. And so I was going to ask about, with Eternal London and with the latest project, New York, your focus has moved from animals more onto the human form. And many of the figures in the shots wear hats, shoes, and overcoats that make them look like they have walked out of a 1940s film noir. And I just want to know whether that sort of cinematic style was a kind of, or has become, or was a big kind of influence on your style.
No, it wasn't.
No. Okay, that's the answer to that question.
No, because it's no. I started to look at noir movies after that. Everybody was saying, "Oh, your pictures looks like noir movies." But yeah, I'm a big fan of. I love movies, but I've never been a big fan of noir movie. I mean, it's my So I've never been a big fan. I wasn't say inspired by noir film. Yeah.
No, I guess there's something more dramatic, I guess, about the people wearing hats or high-heeled shoes.
Well, that's fashion. That's more fashion. It's so I'm when I see someone moving around a city, I need a something to start with, and sometimes it's is an accessory. So like a hat, a top hat, a raincoat, or something that it's can somehow make me play with photography, make me play with if I was like a movie maker, if a
Yeah.
director. So I start to like I become like a writer, a poet. So I
Right.
use that particular things to fantasize.
Will you show us some of the Eternal London series?
Of course, yeah.
We've got a question actually about how, with some of the ones where you are quite close up behind people, how
Yeah.
you manage to capture some of the subjects without them knowing when you get so close to them. I'm presuming most people, or do people know that you are sometimes taking pictures?
Of course, some of them really know. Yeah, uh, yes, because I had even bad um, incident where I had people turning around and saying to me, "What the fuck are you doing?" Or I'm gonna call the police now. But I think it's part of everyone's job. I think you have sometimes that fear of not being politically correct, if you want.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's very different from. But yeah, for instance, in that case, I just bent on Westminster Bridge. I was I was following a horse trotting towards me, or galloping towards me, and I just bent and took a picture. I got to use a viewfinder so I can look through it, and so I was lucky because sometimes I really, I think you need to you need to be brave and experiment different things to get to the point uh, mm, to get the right shot.
Yeah.
And
You're quite literally putting your life slightly on the line there with a horse
exactly,
or head with a policeman probably sitting on top of that horse.
of course. Oh yes, oh yes. I was
Oh,
yeah,
I also wanted to ask you, there's a lovely quote, the Eternal London book, from Thomas More,
yeah.
which says, "Go where we may, rest where we will, eternal London haunts us still." Does that sum up how you feel about your adopted home city?
Yes. Well, it still fascinates me, which is
Yeah,
even better. But it's part, fascination is it's part of that haunting, if you want, process. Whereas, but yes, absolutely. I mean, it's still well, it's one of the cities that I love the most. So that's why I'm here.
yeah,
It's it's a very I've been coming since I was like very young. So um, so as there's a strong connection with London for me now, and yeah, I find it super fascinating, super traditional, super non-traditional, super modern, super crazy,
yeah.
super political, super non-political. Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
And I was going to say, despite the sort of dark surface, both with this series and maybe even more so, I think with the new series, for the New York images, um, there, there's a sort of a kind of tenderness and a kind of warmth within the pictures.
Yeah.
And I just want to ask whether there is a kind of, there is a romance, whether you feel a kind of a romantic connection almost to these kind of great cities like London and New York. And are you an old romantic at heart is basically what I'm asking.
Probably yes. Probably yes. Yeah, I think so. Um, um, Probably, it's now, nostalgic is it's not that popular now because it's been, but everybody's nostalgic, I think. So I don't want to be in that sort of bracket, but yeah, um, romantic. Yeah, I'm. I like. I like raw emotions, if you want.
Yeah.
So yeah, in that respect, yeah, I'm romantic. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And listen, as we are talking about New York, and I know that we haven't actually got a huge amount of time left at all. Um, your latest book on New York has just been published,
Yeah.
and I'm just thinking you must be thrilled with it because there is a very, very distinctive look and feel to it. It's almost like each page has an individual print fixed onto the paper. I urge people to try and seek out copies of Giacomo's book, which you can order.
Send me, if you can, send him an email to my name and surname at gmail.com.
Yeah, you can get a copy of the book, but there's a sort of tactile quality to the images on the paper, which is very, very unusual. And I just wanted to know whether that was something that you strove to try and achieve, and if you
Not at
so,
all. Not
not
at
at all.
all.
How
Not
interesting.
at all. Because it was my publisher's suggestion. I worked this time with a different publishers. So a different publisher, sorry. So I worked with 3 different publishers in my career. So one is W's, which published, who I published 4 books with him. Then I worked with Pierre Bessard. I did a self-portrait one. Then Skinner books from Italy came about, and so it was his own idea. So he actually called me. I was in Venice shooting my latest series, and he said to me, Giacomo, we met in Paris Photo last year, November, where I had the chance to show my latest project, the New York project. And he said to me, I want to launch a Photo in New York. So I said, oh, wow. So I left him to do the design. And he came up with a couple of ideas. And so it was his own merit. No problem at all. I mean, he's has been a fantastic person to work with as well. With, you know, I had amazing books from Pierre Bessard, W. Milo is his name. And so his own idea. So he came up with these, and I went to Verona EBS to print it. And we had these amazing sheets coming out from the press, and we would look at these images with black pages, discard paper, 160, 70 grams. And it was amazing. It was amazing. But it was Skinner Books design. So
It's so effective because it really feels like it's like a sort of old-fashioned sort of photo album with it feels like real
prints, yeah,
on the page,
still
and
wet,
you touch them and
still wet,
you're
yeah.
surprised that they don't move. It's a very
They don't get, they're still like, they're still. You expect them to be still wet, yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, incredible, yeah.
I urge people to get in touch with Giacomo and get themselves a copy of the book. Giacomo even has said that he will sign people's books for them if they kind of email through to giacomobrunelli@gmail.com and place their orders. It's a really beautiful book. I'm really, really sorry because we have got through our time incredibly quickly and we've barely scratched the surface of your work. I'm sorry, Giacomo, that's my bad timekeeping. So just a quick question. Your new project, you mentioned Venice. Is that when
Venice.
lockdown opens
So
up, you'll be back to Venice?
yes, he's going to. Hopefully, I will be finishing it within 2020. Started it in January, and fingers crossed, I will. I will finish it. But yeah, I did 2 trips of 2 weeks each, one in January and one in February, and it was great. It was great to get to know Venice.
Yeah.
Get to know Venice through photography, through incredible. So I want to do a project on the city just to because I want to. Yeah, I want to be express myself there because I think
It's a magical city.
The architecture there is incredible, and the history is Italy, but is Istanbul. It's Italy, but it's don't know, India. It's Italy, but it's England as well. So
Yeah.
it's crazy there, being so
True.
small. So
Yeah.
like 50,000 people. So incredible.
I've got a last question in quickly, and then we are going to have to wrap up. Robbie has asked, where can we see your people project? I have never seen these images before, and I'm really sorry that we didn't get round to them. So
Of course.
give
Yeah.
Robbie a quick answer, because
Of course. Oh yeah.
basically we like to wrap up before 8 o'clock so everybody can go outside and show their appreciation for the NHS and key workers
Cool.
and be able to go out and applaud.
That's the project.
Is that on your website, Giacomo, or is that?
No, it's not. It's not.
It's not.
It's like never edited, never published, never shown anywhere. So
I tell you what, when your project on Venice is finished, we will get you back to do a second talk, if that's all right, and then maybe we can look back at some of your earlier series that we haven't had time to look at.
Of course. Oh yes.
So listen, it just remains for me to say thank you, everybody, for.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you very, very much for being the guest tonight. And again, I'm really sorry that we've had to rush through things a little
bit. Bye, guys. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
And we're back in a fortnight. So that's 7 p.m. Thursday, the 18th of May. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Keep well, stay safe, and go and give everybody a good clap outside. Thanks a lot. Take care, everybody. Thank you, Giacomo.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye. Bye-bye.